Yo, what's up boys, and welcome back to yet another video. This one is on a bit of an interesting different topic on a game which you guys know already I like a lot. It's PLAYERUNKNOWN'S Battlegrounds, and the title will probably be something along the lines of 1 year later. And believe it or not, the original alpha, or the pre-alpha for this game, was literally a year ago on July the 26th. That's when they first opened the doors to content creators to go play on their alpha build or anyone else who signed up for the alpha. And although you could not record it because it was NDA'd, the footage which you'll see on your screen right now is the footage from 10 months ago of the alpha build which didn't have an NDA. And it's crazy how far this game has came in a year, and that's what I'm only talking about in this video. A lot of you guys who watch this are probably PC gamers who regularly use Steam, and you've probably seen your fair share of shitty alpha games, early access games which simply do not deliver on what you'd like them to deliver on, or what they even claim that they're going to be delivering on, and in the long run they stay perpetually in early access. PLAYERUNKNOWN'S Battlegrounds is an early access game, and despite it being only out for I think 3 to 4 months now, it is a purchasable product. It's amassed 5 million sales, is constantly hitting new concurrents every single weekend, with the current concurrent maxed out value being 400,000, making it the most popular game which was not made by Valve on the Steam platform, which is pretty impressive. And the game does of course have the plans of leaving early access later on this year. They did end up pushing back the date by a bit, but still the fact is it's going to be in early access for less than a year. So they get the funding and are clearly effectively using that funding to hire new employees around the world, not just in their original home base with Bluehole based in Korea. I'd say that's probably how an early access game should work. It allows the developers to get some money so that way they can invest it in things and clearly show that their proof of concept is worth something to constantly develop for years and years. But many people just don't get to that point of really reinvesting the money and getting out of that early access. I don't know why it is. Maybe Koreans are just really good at what they do. You know, Koreans we know are some of the best at certain video games like League of Legends, StarCraft 2, stuff like that. Other ones not so much. PLAYERUNKNOWN'S Battlegrounds, I have seen a lot of very bad Koreans, but let's not talk about that one. But the point is, I'm constantly blown away by the updates and the future plans really for this game. We're going to talk about a bunch of things which maybe you guys did or didn't know, but I'm making a video on this because I feel like it's interesting to me. If you don't find it interesting, fair enough. But hopefully you'll learn a thing or two during this video. If you've seen my original history of Battle Royale games video, I talked about all of the history of how Battle Royale started, originally with the Arma 2 mod years and years ago, which was of course also made by PLAYERUNKNOWN, and then going to H1Z1, to Unturned, to a bunch of different things, and now obviously the Battle Royale genre is really dominated by PLAYERUNKNOWN'S Battlegrounds, not only on Steam, but also on Twitch TV. Just to breeze over some of the things which we've experienced in the 3 to 4 months that the games came out, but we've had the SKS, a new weapon being added on launch, we had the Glock 18 added, we had the VSS added, and we had the Groza added, with a bunch of other things like some small changes to the map, and also new weather settings, which were just added in the last month. That's not including things like new vehicles and obviously networking being improved and FPS being improved and stuff like that as well. I hate constantly comparing PLAYERUNKNOWN'S Battlegrounds to H1Z1, but I really don't understand why that game even still has an active user base. You might be a bit surprised to know that H1Z1 has sold over King of the Kill, counterpart of H1Z1, which was originally Just Survive. That's kind of a flop now, isn't it? But King of the Kill has amassed, I think, over 6 million sales. I'll put the picture on the screen right now so you'll see what the actual number is. But even though that game has amassed that many sales, they haven't really done anything with the game. Yeah, they changed the UI, yeah, they added in a new map, but other than the one weapon added since launch, which, correct me if I'm wrong, is the AK-47, maybe there's some other ones, maybe I'm missing something here. There's not really much going on there. There's no attachments, and people just complain about the game all day. I don't understand why people even still play it. I can see it's a faster paced PLAYERUNKNOWN'S Battlegrounds, or a faster paced Battle Royale game with really good FPS admittedly, but other than that, it's I don't know what the fuck the developers are doing. It's not like Daybreak on you would making video games. Daybreak obviously were originally SOE, and SOE made a lot of very successful games like EverQuest and PlanetSide and stuff like that. I don't understand what the fuck is going on with that game. But this video isn't all just for hating on H1Z1. In fact, it isn't for hating on H1Z1 at all. It's just really to talk about the great things about PLAYERUNKNOWN'S Battlegrounds. I wish this was a sponsored video, you know, like a sales pitch to make you buy the game, but you don't need a video to be sponsored to make you buy the game because the game's pretty good anyway. It seems to be just word of mouth, people saying, hey, the game's pretty fun. When you shoot people, it feels good. And that's why people play the game. The gameplay you'll see on the screen now, still, it's terrible, honestly. Go look at the alpha video. I'll have a link to it in the description of where you can see it on your screen. But the alpha build I played, honestly, I said it was okay, but it was pretty bad. Everything about it was just bad. You know, the gunplay wasn't quite the same. The infantry system was terrible, as you would have already seen on your screen. The map was much more scarce. The game ran worse. It had less players per server. In fact, in the pre-alpha stage, there wasn't even an airplane, believe it or not. Again, don't have any footage of that because it was NDA'd, but literally every player started in a hangar just north of the bunkers, and that's where everyone would start, and everyone would just run out of it and go look for loot. I'm pretty sure that was a thing, and it's just crazy that just in less than a year, I mean, a few days less than a year, the game's turned from a very shitty proof of concept to a fully fledged game. I remember when PlayerUnknown initially told me, hey, I'm making a standalone game, because I obviously supported his original mods, so he wanted to tell me that. I was thinking, well, you're just going to go to a shitty studio and it's going to be just okay. It'll be like H1Z1, but less popular and probably worse. But it turned out to be really good. He obviously got in contact with Bluehole. Bluehole contacted him, and they've made a really good collaborative effort game. Not really collaborative. I mean, he's employed by them now, but I'm sure he probably makes a decent amount of money, and they made a really good game. Like, that's awesome. Go and look at the map, which I'll have a screenshot of the screen right now of the alpha build which I played, but there's a lot of things missing there. You'll see the airfield is very scarce. There's no school building, there's no nuclear power plant building, there's no hospital building in the northwest. Everything about the map was just terrible, and a lot of the buildings in that didn't even have props inside them. Some of the buildings inside that build aren't even existent in the game right now. They're okay with, you know, trial and error, and they can make a proof of concept and then build from that. Not just once, but twice in my mind, going from original alpha, which I played, to, I guess, the initial release of the game 3 to 4 months ago from now, and then from that build to the early access build, which we're going to be seeing very soon. The game's really just changed a lot in all the right directions. There's been some drama with people getting banned from a game recently, but other than that, I couldn't really say they've done anything wrong. Any of the developers have done anything they shouldn't have, said anything they shouldn't have. It's just all been a positive experience, really, for everyone, I'd say. And that's a rare thing in the current world of gaming, with, like I said, most games being early access and kind of staying in that, being a lot of drama with the development speed or development going in the wrong direction. It seems to be a lot more common for an early access game to end up, like I said, not fulfilling those dreams than it does to really surpass them, like PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds has. In fact, off the top of my head, I really couldn't think of an early access game which has surpassed my expectations, other than maybe Rust or something like that. That game's, you know, been redone from the ground up. Originally a web Unity game, and now it's a fully fledged, still Unity, but much better, much different game to the original Flash game, essentially, was that we played years and years ago with Rust. And there's still things to be excited for. Not only, obviously, the game leaving early access, but the vaulting update is eventually going to come in, which is going to change gameplay a lot. Obviously, that was just a proof of concept which was shown at E3, which also they announced the port of it coming to Xbox, while also developing all these cool things, but also the vaulting's just gonna not suck, I'm sure, when it's in the game, so that's cool. But also the zombie mode, which still isn't fully fledged, but they worked on that alongside. And then also on top of that, they're working on 2 maps on the side of that. The desert map we've seen some screenshots of, and then the winter map we haven't seen anything of, but it exists. We know that because a news outlet, Game Informer, I think it was, got an early look at it. Whether it was sketches or an actual map, we really don't know, and I'm sure it wasn't something worth showing, otherwise we'd already have seen it. But the pacing of everything just seems to work out. 1 year really isn't a large stretch of time, but I'd struggle to find a game which has changed so much in less than a year, and I encourage you to maybe tell me a game which has changed so much in a year. Not just changed, but positive change. Very positive game-changing change. Sometimes I just wish Steam Early Access never existed, and I wish Steam Greenlight never existed, because it seems to be more cancer than actual good polished games coming out of it. But PUBG is one reason, or one game, that I do believe did it very well. Not to go back to comparing H1Z1 with PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, but I would say the games are both like equal in terms of bugginess. Correct me if I'm wrong. But there does seem to be a lot of people who get very angry at H1Z1. But Daybreak only ever seem to add updates to the game which really positively benefit them in a monetary sense, aka case unboxings. I don't know how many cases there is in H1Z1 right now, but I know there's at least 10, probably at least 20. In fact, I could just Google the number and put it on screen right now, so I'll do that. There's quite a lot of case unboxings in that game, and this is something which PlayerUnknown, or PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, is also planning on doing correctly, by only introducing those once the early access stage of the game is done, instead of pretty quickly delving into that to soak up the wallets of all of its player base. But even with there being no case unboxings for PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, we already do have a pretty alive marketplace with things being very interestingly priced. Something which was originally $40 for Deluxe Edition, now selling for $700, $800. Anyone who still has their hands on one of these deluxe boxes, you are a man with more money than you originally invested. You're a smart man. I actually had one originally as well, but I sold it for $300 because I'm a dumbass. Even the Twitch Prime loot, which they added into the game, still holding very good value, despite it being, for a lot of people, free loot. And the interesting thing about that is, a lot of people didn't even redeem their Twitch Prime PUBG loot, meaning they missed out on $30 for free. Only PUBG will ever do that, I think at least. Try to see a game which is a promotion for Twitch Prime, which is worth more than $5 once it goes for sale, if it ever becomes marketable. I don't think it's ever going to happen. That's the power of PUBG, guys. It surprises you around every corner. There's always a surprise somewhere. But anyway, guys, that is pretty much it on PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds 1 year later. I'd say you'd have to be involved with the NDA'd pre-alpha testing to really appreciate how far it's came in a year, since I can't show you the footage. But I'm sure you guys can get a decent feel of how much it's changed looking back at the alpha footage, which I'm sure a lot of you guys probably have never seen. I'd actually encourage you to just search PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds Alpha and go look at some of that stuff and see what people felt about it and compare that to how people feel about it in this day and age. I don't really see anyone who has a lot of bad things to say about it. Some people still prefer faster paced games like H1Z1, but no one's going to say the game's fucking terrible. It's very well constructed, gets one major patch every month, and we have a very bright future ahead of it with modding support and multiple maps and crates soon, guys. I'm so excited for crates. I love crates. But anyway, thanks for watching. As always, if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. I'm super pumped for a future of PUBG, and I constantly jerk over it. I just wish I was paid to jerk over it this much. But unfortunately, those dreams will never become a reality. But stuttering and trying to make videos on the internet will continue because I can't do these voiceovers. They're really hard. Alright, bye guys!